Welcome back to this week's episode of We're Your Girls.
Hi, guys. It's so good to see you.
How's everyone's week been?
How was your week? You tell us.
Fabulous. Absolutely fantastic.
That's great. I love that.
I'm a professional clown. I don't know if you knew that. So I clowned around all week.
I love to hear it.
And you know what I always say?
Tell me.
I'm just a little clown. What do you want me to do? Sometimes I just got to clown around.
You said that in Paris for the first time, and we about collapsed, but we were seated.
I said, what do you want me to do?
I'm a little clown.
And sometimes I got to clown around.
But it's the truest thing you've ever said.
So I've been clowning around. What about you?
This week. I clowned. I did a little, you know what? I worked a little, PR'd a little, did the things. Mm-hmm. Well, this week, my boy, we're talking about money.
Oh, and it makes me so uncomfortable.
Does it really?
I do not like talking about money. I joke about money.
Okay.
But I cannot bring myself to actually seriously talk about money which is why I think this is fun and interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to change this about myself. Mm-hmm. I was not raised. The way I was raised, we don't talk about money other than, unless privately at home, mm-hmm. my mom was complaining about the fact that we don't have money, right?
Yeah, same.
If she was like, we have this much money till next payday.
Yeah.
So everyone stop asking for stuff, which was, that is a normal experience. I don't think
sure.
I'm one of many Americans that was in that middle class, I think, sector in which
you toggled back and forth.
We toggled back and forth between being very financially stable and then also going through some intense scarcity.
Same here.
And toggling back and forth, which is that is an American experience for the most part.
It sure is. That's a good point. I'll ask you a question because I'm curious. Because I know I have my answer to this also. When your mom would say things like, we have X amount of money until the end of the quarter, paycheck, whatever.
Till next week, yeah.
Did that ever scare the shit out of you? Or were you always just like, well, this is fine. It is what it is. I would hear that and my stomach would curdle. I hated knowing how much money we had.
Well, I think now
I like to live in a fantasy world.
I've had a lot of therapy for it now. That was a trauma. And I feel like I started to internalize it and just be like, this is just what life is like. Mm-hmm. But yes, I did start to feel it was really anxiety. Now I'm a really anxious person.
Yeah.
But that would make me really anxious. My mom did a great job and she was doing the best she could with what she could, and no parent is perfect. My mom is an amazing person. But that was, she was a single mom.
Yeah.
And I think that when she would say that, it simply was, she was at the end of her rope and she literally was just like, y'all, I love you, but I can't have this conversation right now. This is what I'm worried about. Yeah. And my mom's an amazing mom. So I feel like I have to say that because I'm talking about this openly, and if she was here, she would be like, I know I did that. But yes, I felt like that absolutely would make my stomach drop.
Yeah.
And both of my parents separately, both did it. Mm-hmm. And I remember this feeling of impending doom and not being, and then the moment that they took you to McDonald's or something, mm-hmm. I remember just eating my fries with a shaking hand,
savoring
can we
small fry.
When in reality they're like, chill out, we can afford this. But in my mind I'm like, well, now we're having a treat. Did I earn this treat? Did we deserve this? Because I know things are limited.
Yeah. And I feel the need to give the same exact disclosure as well. Lanita, mommy, I know you did all that you could and you were doing well, my girl. Proud of you.
Our moms did a great job.
For real. So I feel that goes without saying, but we said it anyway. Moms, y'all really did do a great job. But I would say the same. That has now manifested to me as an adult. I don't even, or used to, because I'm not in that position anymore, thank the Lord. I used to not even look at my bank account when stuff, girl, I would just spend. I wouldn't even know the password to Chase. If they came in looking for me, they found the wrong one. Because I didn't have the proper information to access those accounts.
It was the text of, hello, Taryn, you were overdrawn by $100.
The email for me.
I'd be like, no.
Go. And then I delete the email so that I didn't know
Tiffani.
it. I would just live in bliss because I did not want to know the details of my financial strain. I still don't. But now these days I'll be looking. I'll be checking.
Well, things are different now. And that's one really interesting thing about going into, for both of us are in the entertainment industry now. Mm-hmm. And then we both own our own businesses. Mm-hmm. You're a publicist as well as being with me in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. And it's just different. You're functioning in a way in which you don't have the opportunity. When I was a waitress, I'll admit it was pretty low stakes because I would just go to work. I made a lot of money as a waitress.
Ditto.
Thank you, Dr. Sadler. Those implants did the job.
I'm coming to him next.
A tavern with my financed breast implants. Here we go. I made some choices in my early 20s, and they're none of your business. Mm-hmm. Anyway, So like I made
paid off in dividends.
They really did. Paid
Pun
themselves.
intended. Yeah.
But like, I made great money in tips as a waitress. But that's just different that's just different than when you kind of get your big girl job, whatever that looks like. You're getting and for us, we're running our own businesses. We now no longer have the luxury of being like, I'm sure it'll all work out by Friday. Now it's, there are people that rely on me to make sure that I pay them. And I want to pay those people.
And the money is not as consistent either.
No. And you've got to budget that money.
Yeah.
And one thing that really struck me was how inept and unprepared I was to do any of this, despite the fact that by the time I owned my own business, became a content creator, and ran my business, I had a whole master's. Not in business, granted. Okay. I did not have a master's. I have my master's in international communications and diplomacy. I had no idea really how any of this worked. I certainly had no concept of how my student loans worked when I took all those out.
Did you have credit at the time? Any kind of credit card? Anything?
No, I got my first credit card when I became a content creator and opened my business.
You did tell me this, which was very different from me. I got mine at 18 as soon as I could. Ooh. Maxed it out in 4 days, paying for my prom dress. Crazy.
Girl,
anyway, keep going.
That's very
It was designer. It was worth it. Monique Lillier, what can I say? Anyway, okay, yes. You had no credit, didn't know anything, about nothing.
So something that really struck me and that I wish I could have told my younger self was the worst thing that you are doing right now is hiding the fact that you don't know what you're doing with your finances. I would just went around like just trying to not to talk about it because I was embarrassed. The worst thing that I was doing is I was really embarrassed by how much I didn't know.
Now this is the question: were you embarrassed by what you didn't know, or were you embarrassed that you didn't have money?
Probably both. No, I was never, when I first moved to New York and I was hustling and I'm, walking dogs and waitressing, and I was actually really proud of the fact that I was working so hard. I never occurred to me to be embarrassed about my lack of money because frankly, no one I knew was super wealthy.
Yeah.
But the moment I stepped into spaces and sat down at tables with people that knew what they were doing with their finances and had stocks, well, I'll be honest, I still don't know what's going on. I don't know I know my money's in the market.
It's somewhere. You better than me, child.
My money's in the market.
Wow.
Wait on that.
Let it sizzle. I'll come back to you.
Let my money work. Because she's doing something. Do I know what she's doing in the market? Absolutely not.
No.
But the point is that when I got into these rooms and when I sat down at these tables, I suddenly felt like, I should know all this because you guys know all this. I don't know any of this. I went from, being a waitress and then working in a call center.
And it came to suddenly, fast and hot. Change.
Working in the entertainment industry, and I got my first big check and I really didn't know what to do with it. And so thank goodness, I had really good management. Shout out to Shosh.
We love you, Shosh.
Shoshana looked at me in my eye and said, "You don't have a credit card? You've never had a credit card?" I said, "Nope." I'm going to cash this check and put it under my mattress. Don't worry about me.
Very Mr. Krabs.
I was Mr. Krabs.
Under his mattress.
And she immediately connected me with finance professionals that knew what they were doing. And that was when I quickly my relationship with money really started changing quickly. It's still changing. I'm still working on it. And the point of this entire monologue is that the most important thing I found, and you and I talk about it now all the time, is people that have money, work with money, understand money, aren't afraid to talk about money.
That's true.
It's not taboo. Nope. They ask questions when they don't know the answers, right?
And if they don't know the answer, they find somebody who does.
And they compare notes with other people. They say, is this what you did with your money? This is what I did with mine. How have you found that? These are questions I was never taught to ask. So anyways, how about you? Jump off that. But did you ever feel that way? And have you felt that shift?
So I will say, you said something that struck me as interesting because I had the opposite encounter. I grew up around people with money, even though we didn't have it.
Yeah, because you grew up in South Florida.
In South Florida, in one of the wealthiest zip codes in the country. But the way that at least Palm Beach County is separated, Palm Beach Island is like the wealthiest zip code in the nation. And then right across a very small intercoastal, some of the poorest people in the nation at the same time. I was on the other side of the intercoastal. Now, we weren't, destitute all the time, just like you said, money was a pendulum. It was constantly swinging.
Yeah,
and
we were pretty middle-class family.
Definitely middle class, and when we weren't. But I was always exposed to extreme wealth and didn't really know. Wow. It didn't ring as weird to me because I always saw it. Now, did we have it? No. So when I found myself in situations as an adult when I didn't have money, I had the shame that I didn't have money. Whereas you didn't have shame about being broke, I did. Or whereas you said, what did you say? You said...
I wore it kind of it was like a cute character trait.
It became cute for me eventually. When we met is when it got cute. Because I definitely called Taryn when things got rough one day and I was like, girl, I'm about to hit the pole. And we went to Bethesda Fountain. And we had known each other for 2 weeks.
It was freezing cold.
Cold as hell.
And I met Tiffany in the middle of Central Park at Bethesda Fountain. We sat down and I went, well, buddy, what's going on? And she said...
those words. I'm about to hit the pole.
And I said, hang on, what? And I said, let's talk about this. And you went, Taryn, I dropped my resume off at the strip club.
The day before I had gone to 4. Can you imagine
I was more shocked that they accepted resumes.
I mean, they laughed for sure. These big, brawly ass men were like, thanks, miss. And I'm like, you're welcome. I'm walking on out.
I'm efficient on Excel.
Literally. It was crazy. And that was when I won't say it got the worst, but that was the moment in my life where I was like, ooh, child, it's no longer cute for you to be like traipsing around New York City with like nothing. You got to have to start to have something. Because this was right before COVID. Or no, this is right after COVID.
This is right after COVID. We met right after.
Right after COVID. And that's when things got real because I was like, oh shit, like if the economy or world collapses again, I'm an adult now.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
Because if my mama ain't got it, I definitely ain't got it. So that means we both ain't got it. And now I'm an adult and we ain't got it, which is very different from being a child and not gotten it. What did you say? You said shame versus what was the other thing?
I had shame the moment I started making some money. It became very clear that I had no idea what to do with it.
Shame versus a lack of education. Yeah. Okay, so I was more comfortable with a lack of education.
Okay.
Was very uncomfortable with the shame of being broke, I guess is the better way to say it. Now, I'm completely past that, and I'm now where you are. I'm like, oh shit, now you got to start learning things because you got a little bit of coin in your pocket. Mm-hmm. What you gonna do about it? Because as you know, my biggest fear is now having money and blowing it, or Mike Tyson in this bitch and
bite my ear off.
That or going broke, either one. But honestly, the fear is I'm gonna squander my wealth, the little bit that I've managed to accumulate in however many months, years, whatever. That's my biggest fear.
I gotta admit though, I don't think that that's a bad fear. I think that's a functional fear. I think there are certain fears that keep us safe.
Yeah.
I always have the same fear. So whenever I spend a dime, I have a lot of guilt about spending money on myself.
Oh, see, we different.
Which I'm working on. Because I like being friends with you though, because the moment I turn to Tiffany and I'm like, I really want this frivolous thing. And Tiffany will be like, get it. I don't need to hear what it is.
Spend it. So as you can imagine.
You're like a little raven.
Oh, it's bad.
You collect sparkly things.
It's horrible. And that's why I have this deep-seated fear because I won't be able to check myself. Like if I want it, I'm going to get it. And then I'm like, oh, you got too close to the sun. So,
and what I've learned, I'm going to throw this in there.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing I have learned from finance savvy people I hire to pay attention to me and talk to me. It's crazy. It is crazy to pay someone by the hour to spend time with you. That's crazy work.
That laugh is wild. That's what it sounds like.
I'm like, my guy's named Gavin. I'm like, Gavin.
God bless him.
What am I doing wrong? And he's like, well, where do you want me to start? And I'm like, ooh, let's get going because I got 50 more minutes. The most interesting thing that I've learned is because I thought all I have to do in my life is save money. That is all I have to do. Because that is where I came from. Is save money if you can. Yep. Take as much. Don't have debt if you can avoid it. I am not qualified to give any of you advice. The best advice I'm going to give you, look at me. If you're listening to this, I'm looking in my camera. Mm-hmm. Look at me. Mm-hmm. If you have any amount of money, hire people who know what they're doing to help you with your money and then listen to them. What do you want when you have children eventually? Mm-hmm. How do you want their relationship with money to differ from what yours has been?
Good query. I don't want my children to be afraid to make money. I don't want money to be something that's wholly unattainable to them. That it's something that you don't have access to. It's not something that you get. Other people can have money, but you can't. No. I want my kids to come sliding out the womb knowing that you have access to great things, whether that be financial wealth, land wealth, art wealth. I don't know, anything. Wealth is available to you, and you can pursue it. And we have it. You can have it. My wealth may not necessarily be your wealth, meaning you need to go out and make your own money. That's fine. But we got you. and you have a safe space to learn what your relationship with money looks like. You don't have to be afraid of it because mommy's not afraid of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be afraid of it because daddy's not afraid of it. And if it ever disappears, it will come back also. Like, I want my kids to know that money is not their God. Just as in the same way that we're told money doesn't bring happiness, money also doesn't have to bring extreme depression, extreme fear.
In the same way money doesn't buy happiness, don't also think that it has to be something that is constantly this great creator of you don't want it to be this thing that brings with it scarcity and fear and anxiety.
I want money and wealth to be something that is there. It is not how you live your life. It's not why you live your life. It's just there.
I agree from the standpoint that I've learned through therapy that it is because of my upbringing that even now that I am, thank goodness, which I'm so grateful for, I am now financially stable.
Amen.
It doesn't matter.
Cheers to that.
Well, cheers.
Travai, diva.
Travai, diva. And yet, I worry about it.
Or it doesn't count.
Oh, God. Anyway, I just drank my wine. Even though I'm not financially stable because of, I think, my upbringing, every day it's my greatest worry. I worry about money all the time. I worry about everyone around me. I worry about myself. I worry about my family. I worry about everyone, even though nobody's even told me. Right now, I'm worried about your financial situation.
I'm not worried about my money, but Taryn is.
I'm worried about it, and I'm realizing I had to learn in therapy that wasn't evidence that there's anything wrong. It's evidence that by the fact this is the relationship I have learned to have with money, which is the only way I know how to live with it is to worry about it.
Oh.
I'm just worried about it all the time, and I am actively working on this. I'll get back to you in a year. I hope that I can change this relationship, because what's ironic is when I was a waitress, and I was, I'm down to the week, I was way less worried because I was comfortable with this tumultuous, scary relationship with money. Being like, I hope I make it by Friday.
Like
that was more comfortable. That was because the worry was part of my everyday life, and it wasn't like
it was familiar.
It was familiar. Yeah, you better be worried, girl, because you have to get groceries in a couple days. Now that I can relax. Yeah. I can't relax.
And true, there's arguably the stakes are higher. Before it was just you had to worry about, and the impending student loans that would eventually come someday. But now,
and yet, I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. I keep waiting for the day to come that I can stop worrying. And I'm realizing this has nothing to do with how much work I book. This has nothing to do with any. This has everything to do with my emotional and existential relationship with money, which has been conditioned to be fearful. And I need to work on this because I don't want I don't want to rub off on my kids one day.
Yeah.
I don't want my kids to be worried about this. And I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter where I'm at. Financially. I just don't want my children to have this thing where they have $1 in their pocket and they're worried about it.
And they want to give it to mommy because mommy was stressed about it earlier. Yeah. Yeah. 1000%.
Anyway.
I'd agree.
We're moving this back to funny times because it's making me sad.
No, don't be sad.
This is making me sad. I'm really sad on the show, guys.
Oh.
Let me play a sad song.
This is my favorite thing that she does.
I call this tribute to poverty.
It's crazy.
You're listening to NPR Jazz Hour. Okay. What's the stupidest thing you ever did to make money?
Oh, God.
What's the stupidest choice you ever made because of money?
Because of money? Or wait, which question?
What? I didn't know these are almost the same question.
We'll ask him again.
What's the stupidest thing you ever did, either because of money, to make money, because you were in a pickle, because you were in a pickle because of money? I think you just told the story when you applied to the strip clubs.
No, that wasn't a stupid thing.
But you know what? Strippers work hard.
Strippers work hard.
That's
why I thought I would do well. I'm a hard worker.
You are a hard worker. Strippers work hard.
Now,
cheers
I'm constantly ashy though, so I wouldn't have made it on the poll. But that is another thing entirely.
I would have loved to be we both wanted to be go-go dancers.
We still do.
There's
this place on the Upper East Side that has girlies that dance on the bar.
Ethel's.
We love Ethel's. Ethel's, if you're listening, I hope by some crazy happenstance
please let us dance go-go.
Just one night only. Taryn and Tiffany take the bar. We'll give you all of the tips back.
Please, you have to pay us.
We'll donate them.
You don't have to pay us. Us?
We don't don't need money.
We don't need money.
I mean, well, hold on.
Well,
now,
hold on.
Because we don't said all that. And the tips would be nice. We'll get back to you, Ethels. Point being, that wasn't the craziest thing.
I'd put it into my high yield savings account. I've got one of those now.
That's nice. Wait, you did tell me about this the other day. This is great news.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. We'll revisit this. What's the craziest thing I've ever did in the name of the dollar? I've pawned some things.
That's not funny. I'm sorry.
I was like a teenager. My mom was so upset. She was like, oh no.
You went to a pawn shop?
Girl, I took my iPad to the pawn shop. I did. I'm sorry, Daddy. My dad got me an iPad for Christmas, and I kept it for years. Tiffany. And then I was like, I don't even know what I pawned it for. I think it may have been for gas money. This is when I was like 18, and I'm not proud, but I don't like to ask for money. Because back then, just like we said, it was always going to get better. Like, we'd come across money eventually. Yeah. It was going to be fine. Yeah. But I was like, this is how I'm going to come across my coin. I sure did take it to the pawn shop on Okeechobee. And the man was like, I'll give you $75. And I was like, this was worth $350. And he's like, but it has a giant crack in the screen. And I was like, deal, take it.
Say no more, twist my arm.
Say no more, buddy, it's all yours.
And you walk away, shacker. I'm 75, schmackaroon treasure.
And it took like $50 to fill the tank of my Jetta at the time.
Oh, I too drove a Jetta.
Yeah,
we
hot
Jetta
girls
sisters.
drove bad Jettas, girls.
Mm-hmm. I drove a 1998 Volvo named Louis. He was on his last leg. Oh. It was a family friend's daughter's car, and then she went off to college, and they gave it to my mom.
That's sweet. Knowing
that it probably had moments left on its life. But I love that car. And every time you turned it on, when the air came through the vents, it smelled like a Crayola crayon.
Old cars always smell like the crayon smell.
Mm-hmm. And I love that car. It's my first car. I was so proud of that car.
Is it still around?
Babe. I watched Louis get taken away on a tow truck.
No.
I played the Gladiator soundtrack. As it was driven away. Oh. Louis!
My boy
anyway,
Louis. Shaquita
that car always was breaking down, and I went to community college on the top of a hill near my house. Okay. When I lived in Seattle. I went to South Seattle Community College. Go Otters.
No. Not the Otters.
Go Otters.
Go Otters.
We chose the mascot while I was at that school.
Really?
Anyway, now it's just called South Seattle College, but I went to South Seattle Community College at the time. And I always knew that car was, it was not reliable. But one day I turned it on, and I tried to pull out of the spot, and it was going, but there was something wrong with the transmission, it would not go above like 5 miles an hour.
Oh, no.
It was like literally this was like
she was put.
But I had class in 15 minutes. And I had a choice to make. And I had already missed class multiple times and been late to this class, and I didn't want to fail.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, I'm going to take her to the top of the hill. We can do this. Like Thomas the Train. I took that car on the highway. Going 10 miles an hour. Blah, 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 blah. And I put on my 4-way flashers, and I drove in the fog lane. All the way to school. Every time I took a corner, and then at one point I got to the top of the hill, and I was like, thank God I got to the top. I was really worried about that. And then it was down the hill.
Oh,
and
shit.
I just put it in the neutral.
Rode on neutral.
All the way down the hill.
Going
And I remember catching the turn going into the school. It was like, I ghosted into the school parking lot, put it in the park, and I ran into class. And the teacher, of course I'm late.
I'm screaming.
I went, sorry, car troubles. They had no idea. Oh my God. It got towed from the school parking lot.
But I
had
on
AAA.
The corner on 2 wheels. You're going Taryn.
And that was the last time I ever saw her. That was the last time I ever saw Louis alive.
That's so dangerous.
I wanted him back too.
Oh
I was
God.
like, tow him for now, but let me know where he ends up.
Get him back.
He will be back in my custody.
Oh my God, that's
And they were like,
so
ma'am,
funny.
you should not drive this car. It's about to blow up in the middle of the road with you in it. You're about to get incinerated.
It's crazy.
And I was like, phooey. He's fine. Just give him a little tune-up, will ya?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Anyway, I love that car. People are funny about money.
People are funny about money.
I don't think, other than the fact that I get uncomfortable talking about it, which I'm trying to get over, I don't think I'm weird about money from the standpoint that, like, for example, in our friendship, and this is one thing about me. I'm not keeping a running tally. So if I got dinner last time, I don't remember who got dinner last time. I always assume that we're going to get each other back. But we all have that friend who, when you're done hanging out with them,
send the Venmo request
right away. Or like, they're like, I have a friend who once sent me a $3 Venmo request for a bagel.
No.
Because she, like, grabbed us bagels.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I paid her right away because I get it. When people are funny about their money,
they funny about
as Samantha Jones once said, make sure that you honor, their boundaries with money. If they're fair. They're like, even $3 I want to be paid back for. I get that.
Yeah.
However, I have to say I'm not like that. And so I do find that really interesting. It's like, and I've actually found that people that grew up in more scarcity aren't necessarily the ones that do that.
I know.
But you know what it is? I think it's folks that grew up talking about money in their household. They know that maybe $3 isn't much to you right now, but it builds up over time. So make sure you get paid back.
And that's true.
I think it's interesting.
The way that I am in that particular situation, I want to be billed back immediately. Like, I want somebody to hit me with the $3 Venmo because I don't want to seem like I'm keeping people money.
Fair enough. And I don't want to owe you money.
So that's my weird hang up. Like, send me the Venmo, girl. Don't forget, because I will remind you. Like when we went to Paris, for example, we had decided, so like, I will pay for dinners because you would come out of pocket for a lot of things. And I was like, perfect. I will pay for every dinner. And you're like, no, it's fine once we got there. And I was like, no. We decided ahead of time that this is how it's going to be. And I stuck to my guns about it because I hate to be the one that, like, doesn't repay her debts. Does that make sense?
Fair enough, sure.
Though nobody is thinking that, I'm immediately assuming people are like, Tiffany don't pay her bills. And I can't stand that.
Sure.
So I can see where people come from when they do that.
I understand it. I just think it's fun. I think it's interesting, and I'm always interested in friendships, how if you have two friends that function in two different ways, money-wise, how they navigate those things. But, guys, comment, tell us. Send us some messages, emails, however, homing pigeons.
I was just going to say pigeons.
What have you learned? How has your relationship with money changed, or has it not changed? And what have you learned about yourself with money? Oh my God, there's other things to talk about this. Romantic relationships and money is so interesting to me. That's a whole nother, I think that frankly is a whole nother conversation.
Oh, 1,000%.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I just will say this. It informs the way I date, period. It definitely does. I would be lying if I said it didn't.
I knew I loved my husband on our first date because he was by no means a rich man. By any means, he was a personal trainer at an LA Fitness, and I was no princess. I had no large dowry. I hadn't a large dowry, darling. I was working as a dress sales girl. I made $15 an hour, which I would then be raised to $17 an hour.
Oh, what a blessing.
3 years later. Anyways, the point is, but I knew I loved my husband, that despite the fact that he didn't make a ton of money, he was a very, very, very generous tipper everywhere we went. Even if the service was bad, he always tips well. And I was like, that's my man. Because I don't care. I mean, frankly, I always appreciate when people are generous with me, but I'm really interested in the fact, are you generous with other people? Are you generous with people that can do nothing for you?
That you'll probably never see again.
That tells me all I need to know. My producer's nodding her head in the back. She agrees. She's nodding ferociously. And she is not even from America.
Why you be calling Tracy out?
She's from another country, and she knows that matters.
It's true. This is a point of contention, or was a point of contention in a lot of my early girlfriend relationships. I would tell the girls, don't go out with a man who's not paying on the first date, and that's on period. Don't even fake reach for your wallet. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
A fake reach?
Girl, I don't fake reach, you shouldn't either.
You don't even go for your coin purse?
Hell no.
You don't go for your coin purse?
I'd be sitting there like,
just
holding eye contact, looking crazy as hell, because I don't do that. And now one of my girlfriends has started to adapt this after years and years of us being friends. She's like, you know what? I'm going to try it. So she's gone on some dates, 2 dates.
Touch not your coin purse.
Correct. She's gone on 2 dates, adopting this policy. She doesn't reach for the wallet. One guy goes and he tells her, I really didn't appreciate the fact that you didn't even offer to split the bill. What do you even say to that? Exactly. You cough and you swallow uncomfortably. So he made a point to tell her after the date, they had a whole conversation about it, that he does not date women who don't offer to split the bill. Because in his mind, that tells him everything he needs to know about a girl. The second guy.
What is there to know?
Hell if I know that she ain't reaching for the bill. I guess because that's all that cues me into. Needless to say, they didn't go on another date. Good riddance. Now, the second guy, hold on, I have to think about it.
Now, I will say this. After you have been dating now. Mm-hmm. You're dating a month, 5 dates later. You're just hanging out now. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't expect a man to finance my entire life.
Absolutely
not. That means that, you both make good money and yet you continue to expect him to pay for everything. I think I can understand why a conversation would inevitably happen where a gentleman might be like, a gentleman might certainly break up. I don't know why I said it like that. A guy might say, hey, can we start going Dutch on a couple things?
Correct.
Again, if that would totally put a bad taste in your mouth, then I suppose we date differently, have different expectations. But I would say after some time together, there's a fine line between expecting a man to finance your life, and a man paying for dates.
I am a woman who has gone on many a date, and I've never had to have that conversation once. Yeah. Because it is always a seamless transition between we are going on early dates, you are courting me.
There you go.
Therefore, you logically are paying for the bill. To the point where I'm like, okay, great, I would love to treat you. And then it becomes that easy back and forth exchange. In all of my years of dating, not that there have been many, but I have gone on a lot of dates, I've never had to have that conversation.
Fair enough.
So I found it so interesting that my poor girlfriend who tries this new theory gets called out immediately by a man who's like,
that's crazy.
Oh, no, that doesn't work.
I don't think she should change what she's doing, though.
What do you mean?
I think she should continue to not reach on the first date.
I think so, too. Now, I'm curious. I want to know how y'all feel about this. Do you reach for the wallet? And if so, what's your reasoning? If you don't reach for the wallet, what's your reasoning? Or, better question, do you think I'm crazy that I don't reach for the wallet? Like, I genuinely want to know what the girlies are out here doing.
I haven't been on a date in 10 years. But if I was...
What would you do? Do you reach for the wallet if you were dating? You're not anymore. But back then or now, if you were to be dating, would you reach for the wallet? It's tough. Why is this a tough question?
Well, because for me, it's almost like a trap. Oh. I'm going to reach because I want you to emphatically stop me.
But then when they don't.
I would probably turn to the guy and be like, I'm going to be honest. I was going to grab my wallet, but I didn't even bring my wallet. And it's a little weird that you let me get all the way to my wallet. This was a trick and a trap, and you failed. So I'm going to go. Both. And good luck with all this.
Correct.
Correct. But thank you for this trip to the Outback Steakhouse.
This was great, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I truly love a good Cheesecake Factory night. Thank you for my gumbo.
Gumbo at the Cheesecake Factory.
My dad's favorite.
Yeah, I love that though.
Anyway,
point me.
Yeah, so let us know. Do you reach for your wallet? Has your relationship with money changed? How are you guys doing? I need more wine. All right, well, I hope you have a good week. I hope you make some money this week.
Yeah, I enjoyed this talk.
Me too.
For next week.
Put your money in the market. Not too much, not too little.
We'll discuss.
Just enough. Or maybe don't do that. I don't know.
Don't take my advice.
Don't take my advice. I don't even know what's going on in the market. Where is the market? Who's running it? Where is it at?
That's a good question. All valid queries. I'll call Kelly.
My accountant. Love her. She's amazing. Gavin and Kelly.
You actually do need to send me her number, though.
I do, actually. Get an accountant. Get a bookkeeper.
I'm trying. You got to send me a
I'm talking to them.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. Get a bookkeeper.
Have a great week. Get an accountant. If the IRS is watching, no, you're not. Forget you saw this. You don't even know who I am. No. I pay my taxes. Leave me alone. Well, have a great week. And remember, we're your girls.
Bye.